games help reduce stress? Well, it depends. Let's dig into that. We learn that Joelle hasn't played a Pokemon game, so we try to convince her to start. And Kat has a plan to play through all the Dragon Age games over the holidays. Is she crazy? We think not. All of this and more on the GoGCast, starting right now.
Get ready for the Girls on Games podcast, your weekly dose of news, reviews, and everything video games. Always served with a good helping of hype and just a pinch of salt. And now, your host, Leah.
Hello and welcome to another Girls on Games podcast. My name is Leah and I'm the host of this show. This is episode number 473 and joining me on the podcast this week, as always, is Catherine. How you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm excellent. Joelle, how are you over there?
Hey, doing great. Woke up to the lightest dusting of snow. It is happening.
It is. And I know folks north of us, here in Toronto, north of Toronto, got hammered with snow, but there's nothing right now where I am. How about you, Kat? Do you have anything?
Yeah, slight dusting on the ground, just enough to lighten up, because you know how snow reflects light. I woke up this morning, I'm like, everything's just that much brighter. So we're going to be having these light dusting all week, and it's not going to go above zero, so I don't think it's going to melt all that much. So I'm hoping.
Nice.
We haven't had a white December or a snowy December in a hot minute.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to get snow early.
I like a little bit of snow for the seasonal festivities, but I don't want to deal with trying to get around Toronto when there's snow, because they do not know how to handle snow here like they do in Montreal.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. The Montreal crew know what it's at. They know how to deal with the stuff.
Yeah. Every year people complain that it takes so much of our city's budget. But once you go anywhere else, you're like, keep spending that money.
Oh, 100%.
Keep doing it. Like it's...
Yep.
100%. Yeah.
It snows.
Worth it.
Money well spent.
Wait 10 minutes. The city of Montreal checks it away and you're good.
Mm-hmm. You know what? And rather pay for all that snow removal than other natural disaster stuff. So,
True.
It's fine.
Let's get through some housekeeping before we get into the crew check-in. I'd like to remind you that if you enjoy this show, you can find it and follow it, subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. If you'd like to get some GOG merch, you can do that by going to designbyhumans.com/shop/girlsongames. Or maybe you'd like to buy us hold on. Why am I doing that to myself? I've only said this 50,000 times. If you'd like to give us a tip, maybe buy us a coffee, you can do that by going to our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/girlsongames. Ladies, I am not going to lie. The reason why I'm sputtering over my words is because I was just watching a YouTube video talking about the making of the song Sandstorm by Darude.
Oh
and
my
now
gosh.
I just have Sandstorm playing in my head. Exactly. Running through my brain. My God.
I was
song.
not expecting this string of words to come out of your mouth. That was the most random shit.
My YouTube algorithm is fucked.
Obviously. But also send me a
literally,
link.
It's I will, and we will put it in the thing. It's from a YouTube channel called DJ Mag. They have 1.22 million subscribers. This video was put up 1 month ago, and it's actually an interview with Darude himself, where he talks about his origin story.
Wow.
And making the song and how it took off, and how he has little to no control over the memification of it now. The good and the bad of it. So yeah, it's only about 10 minutes, 11 minutes long. So yeah, enjoy this festivities. Darude in your ear holes.
I am
Thanks
watching
for
this
spreading that
tonight
joy. Yeah, I can't
before
wait.
bed.
Great.
And somehow falling asleep with Darude stuck in my head for the next week.
Sounds like a
It's the-
really good time, Kat. That's
It's
the best.
the build of that song. And then when the beat drops, you're just like, yeah.
I just remember the video being fucking random of just people running around with a briefcase.
And they talk about this, and apparently he said that like it's somewhere in, I think they're in Finland or something, and they're running around. He's like, it's not actually possible for people to run between those places within the short amount of time that they're doing it, because they're like 30 minutes apart. And apparently people go on like journeys to visit all the spots in this music video.
That's amazing. Cut that man a check for tourism.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But that's how you know the cultural impact on society
Yeah.
of things. And people will always shit on pop music being like, yeah, it's not real music. It's not culture. Like, you keep Darude's name out of your filthy mouth.
Is he considered pop? Is he not?
No, he was
he's
electro
EDM.
beat. Yeah, EDM.
okay.
LA.
I was like, I thought he was like electric dance.
I went in
But
the
it
in the
does-
sense of popular, like in
I see.
Yes.
the
Okay,
gestalt of it all.
Yeah. All right.
The thing is, if you want to get the millennials on the dance floor at any event, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, some other celebratory event that I'm missing a name of right now, turn on Darude Sandstorm, and we
my
will
gosh.
flock to the dance floor like a bunch of crazy people.
So many memories are flooding my mind right now that I had forgotten on purpose.
I just needed to bring that to the podcast today.
Cool.
But now, Catherine, what have you been up to this week?
Nothing. It was glorious.
Good.
It was amazing.
Love that.
As I am getting ready, because this week I have a pretty packed week of work stuff. Work is doing its thing. It started today, Monday, day of recording. There was an afternoon activity to pack gifts for kids in need. So we just grab a bunch of Ubisoft branded stuff, shoved it in bags, put it in a box, wrapped the box. So we had a chain going. And the lady who organized this, bless her heart, she was like, I don't think it's, I think it's going to take about 2 to 3 hours. We were there at 1, by the way, 1. 2 to 3 hours. I have you for the whole afternoon if you need to leave around like 4 because it's your regular sign-off time. It's fine. Like, we'll make it happen. She talked to a room full of people that work in video games. We were done by 2:30. Like, she
had it down
walked
to a
out.
science.
She walked out to get a few supplies, came back in, and as we were doing a chain of like put shit in the thing and the thing and the thing, and then somebody's job is to make sure we have all 6 items in the bag, zip it and put it in a box, and then somebody wraps the box. By the time she came back, one station was already done. We did this thing like Ubisoft slaps together a Far Cry game. We were just like, like asset reuse who? Like, I don't know. And in there also, we had a pile of cards, just cards to sign to send to elderly people that live in isolation. So, just like generic cards to be like, hey, thinking of you this holiday season, Happy New Year type thing. So I started my day by like just assembling boxes because the boxes come flat. So we made boxes like I worked in a pizza place or something, made boxes. At one point, somebody's like, we need somebody to put the Rubik's Cube in the bag. I was like, I don't know. Okay. I went to the Rubik's Cube station. At one point, that station got too chaotic for me. And I just kind of like moved one station over. At one point, I was just like, y'all got paper, and I wrapped a few boxes. At one point, I was like, I'll be right back. I'm thirsty. I go out, I drink some water, grab a coffee from the coffee machine, come back in. Like, the chaos is just like, I've seen that half the room is now empty because we're like going through the motion. I just sat down and I started writing cards. And I wrote cards for like 20 minutes. I wrote like 10 of them easy, something like that. At one point, my boss was like, all right, we're going back. Like, I think we're done. I look around. I'm like, we are pretty much done. And yeah, and after that, I went back to my desk and worked for about an hour and a half, and then came home. And I was like, all right, so first start of this crazy week, because then Thursday is just I have a training all morning. I have to be like at the office at 9 sharp. I got to go to a room I never go to. I'm going to get lost. Yeah. And then Friday night is our Christmas party, like the big Christmas party for the whole studio. So like it's come Saturday, I'm going to faceplant. Like honestly, and I did not cancel. Like every Friday at noon during my lunch hour, I go for a kickboxing class near where I live. Mm-hmm. I did not cancel that class. So your girl is going to get up at 8, log into work until like 11-ish, go to my kickboxing class for an hour, come back, shower, have lunch, keep working, make dinner, eat dinner, put on a shit ton of makeup, do my hair, walk out the door, and go party until like, and I'm in my head, I'm like, I'm going to make it to midnight easy. I'm starting to think I don't make it through the door. Like I'm going to show up, I'm going to give the lady my coat at coat check, and a half hour later, I'm going to be checking out my coat to go home. I need to schedule a nap somewhere, is what I'm saying. So that's why I didn't do much this weekend, other than entertain Simon for the 5 minutes he was here, because he was helping Pascal update his PC. And most of it was hand-me-down parts from Pascal. I think from Simon, sorry. Simon upgraded his computer.
Yeah.
I think Pascal got his CPU and his motherboard. And then he bought a GPU and a power supply. And Simon came with the parts and helped put together the PC.
So you're the little birdie who told him I was playing the Pokemon trade card game.
Yes, because he was asking about it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Leah is. And I think, isn't Darth from the Discord also playing?
I think so. I've fallen off a little bit, and I mentioned that to him that I need to pick up that again because Stardew Valley is eating my lunch again. And I found this other game that got told to me on the TikTokies called Starbrew Cafe that I'm just poking around in. So, yeah. But I'm trying to find the ultimate game that I can play without internet for the subway because there are big holes on the subway system where you have no interwebs. And right now, Solitaire is just not cutting it.
I feel like Balatro would be offline.
What?
Balatro, would it be offline?
I don't know. I've never played that. I should try
It's a card game. Like,
yeah,
shout out to Game of the Year nominee.
Oh, yeah.
Balatro.
Try
I haven't
Balatro.
played that. Yeah, I know it was in... I was like, I've heard that name before, but I haven't played that game. I'm glad you're in the middle of the chaos in the festivities.
Yeah,
and then soon.
Yeah, and then I get a small break, and then, and then my actual holiday hecticness starts.
When are you on vacation?
As of the 20th, I think. Like our days off, like because we get a week-long closure, starts on the 25th, which is a Wednesday, and then we get like 26, 27. And then we get the entire following week of December 30th to January 3rd. And when I saw that, I was like, hell no, I'm not working the 23rd, 24th. So I took 23rd, 24th. So last day is Friday the 20th.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, that's also that night that I booked a fancy restaurant for Pascal's birthday.
Nice.
Yeah. We're... walked by on Saint Laurent, walked by a place that's called L'Osso, and one of Pascal's favorite dishes is ossobuco. And I was like, I bet you that's their specialty. Looked it up. Super fancy award-winning chef saying his specialty is ossobuco. So I booked a table. And I just like, we're going there for your birthday so you can have the fanciest, best, awesome ossobuco that my mind will never live up to, but it doesn't matter. You can ruin ossobuco for yourself for your birthday.
Joelle, what have you been up to this week? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy belated Thanksgiving to those in the States that observe. And I... worked my tail off Monday and Tuesday, and then I had some extended family in town, which I haven't seen them in quite some time. So we hung out, which was really nice to see, and yeah, hung out with some family, and then I had so many things to get done. My intentions were so good to do some cleaning and some reorganizing and maybe get the tree up. And I did none of those things, actually. I basically played video games.
Amen, sister.
Sometimes you need that.
I was like, I tried so hard, and it didn't. Nothing worked out. So I was like lucky that I like left the house and went to the gym. I was just like, I don't know. My brain was fried. At work is gonna be like truly impossible up until the 17th for me. Like it's very bad. There was some unfortunate projects that have to get out the door. Katz, you talked about a training. I'm in an engineering training all next week, and my calendar is totally blocked off from 8 to 5, which is like 2 hours. I usually start work around like 6:30, and so I do have some meetings before my training that I'm going to do, but like it is a mad dash. I wish I could be those people that are like, it's a 2025 problem. But no, there are so many things to get done. And I don't know. I don't know if we'll get them all done. I just don't know. And at least everybody that I work with, we're kind of all in the same boat. Like everyone's in a scramble. It's very chaotic, and it's a little stressful and overwhelming. So I think my brain was just like, must shut down for like 3 days to get ready for what's coming. So yeah, so I didn't do too much. So I'm just getting ready to finish out the year. So yeah.
Did you guys partake in any Black Friday deals, Cyber Monday deals?
Yes.
Nothing gaming though.
I did. I finally got a new office chair. My chair is terrible. It's so bad. And I've been looking at this one, and I've been like, should I pull the trigger? Should I not? And I just finally was like, nope, I'm doing it. So I did get a new office chair, and I'm very excited. It's like my first like fancy chair. It's like mesh, and it has the headrest and the lumbar support and the footrest and all of the stuff. And I'm just like, I'm so excited. So hopefully
the footrest is next level. Awesome.
So excited. I'm like, I actually might, because I don't live in that big of my condo is not very big. It's like 750 square foot, and I just have like one big room as you walk in. And so my desk faces the one window that I have. And then if I turn 180 degrees from my desk, I can look at my TV. So part of me is like, am I going to sit in this chair now and watch TV because it's going to be so comfy other than my couch? Because that's the only things that I have. But there's a lot writing on this chair. It better deliver because my mental health needs it too. So
yeah, I want a new office chair because I'm gonna be real with you guys. I fucking hate the gamer chair I have.
Yeah.
I have put so much stuff on it to make it work, especially with my back issue. I'm not sitting in it right now because I had to wash one of the towels that makes it prop up high enough because it's too low right now. And I've like everything is elevated because I have this platter that turns my regular desk into a sit stand because like I had to go up. And because of that, my feet aren't touching the ground. I got one of those like footrest from like fucking Staples, I guess. So that chair has like a cushion, and then over the cushion, I put a towel because it's easy to clean the towel and not the cushion. And the towel was in the wash today. So I'm sitting in my other office chair that I used to have before I was gifted the gamer chair. And I've been rotating between these two chairs because each chair is not perfect. But together, they can make a perfect chair, but I have to switch. I'm just like, I feel like I need to buy a proper chair, but what do I do with my old chairs? Like, I don't want to create more waste, put them in the landfill. I don't
know. Mine are
there
broken.
are places that will take them. Yeah, mine died. Mine straight up broke. I think it broke moving.
Yeah, mine are. Mine's like.
But yeah, I just trashed them. But like, there are services. Like, okay, so I went and bought a couch yesterday, like an adult. So I went and spent some money with my husband, and we feel better now. But the couch is coming on Saturday. But the problem is I got to get rid of the couch that's there. So when I was at Ashley, because that's where we bought it, I was like, do you guys take them? And they were like, no, but there's a service and that'll take it and I guess like clean it up or whatever and sell it in Goodwill. So maybe that's an option for you, Kat. It wasn't for me in the couch because my couch is not in the condition between having 2 dogs and there being rips in it and it being threadbare in spots. I just called 1-800-GOT-JUNK and they're going to come pick it up on Friday. But yeah, I mean, there are places if you think it's serviceable enough for somebody who might want to use it. But if it's hurting your body, I don't think you can lie on the morals that you don't want to get rid of it because you don't want to produce more trash because it's hurting you.
I mean, my body hurts regardless of the chair. I think it's just a matter of I've been switching chairs to switch positions.
I switch chairs and it's night and day.
All right.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this
You're
new chair
almost
not hurting me.
Kat, you're getting close to that magical number that I hit this year. Listen to your body.
A month. I think less than a month.
Less than a month.
I bet someone at your work would know. I bet like someone they would know like takes like old office stuff and like what condition they need to be in to take it.
Yeah,
because like no one should have the chair I own because it doesn't work. So like I don't want anyone else to suffer in it. If I could give it away, I would. But I've done that with like old mattresses that are in good condition, like they're not gross, like they're in good condition, and I've had people take stuff away. But there's some stuff where I'm just like, this is just done, like it's just done.
Yeah, my mattress is not going to Goodwill. Once we finally change it, it is sagging and dying. Oh. That's the thing is like I always get to the point where just before it breaks. So often is like it's like the state of my shoes, right? They get used up so much, like I walk so much that I get them like it's not just the sole that loses most of its threading. At one point it's the inside, like the back of my heels. Yeah. Like that whole area gets rubbed raw. So I end up having to throw them away. But it's like 75% of the shoe is still good, but it's like I can't bring that. I bring that to a cobbler, and the cobbler will just be like, "What the fuck you want me to do with your old ass New Balances, right?"
Yeah.
But I actually thought about something because I was like, I don't have like black shoes. Like I got rid of so many shoes again because they get to that state. I was like, I would like nice black dress shoes, and then I look in my closet, and I've got my old Steve Madden combat boots that I stopped wearing because the sole split because I wore them so much. So I found an actual cobbler near where I live, like around like Plaza Saint-Hubert, and I brought them to them. And he was like, the boot is in perfect condition because it's leather, so I don't like eat through it like I do fucking sneakers. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I can rebuild a sole. It will be like $150. And I was like, cool. Because I was like, it was that or I buy them again. And he's like, yeah, they stopped making them. I was like, $150 to you, sir. Because the boot was in perfect condition. So I brought that in another pair of dress shoes I haven't worn in a while because the sole was so worn out. I had no treading that I was like slipping and sliding in them. So he was like, yeah, I can rebuild a bit of the heel and I can put something on it and some rubber. I was like, please do. And he was like, yeah, another $100 for this pair of shoes. But he's like, they're in perfect condition. He's like, if you're looking to buy like new, and these were all like genuine leather items. Mm-hmm. Like if you're looking to buy these new nowadays, like you're paying $300, $400.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember, I'm like, these fixes are more expensive than what I remember paying for these shoes. And then I remembered I've had them for decades.
That's girl math.
That's okay.
right
That was like 15 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
it. Like, you wore those when we were working together at
At Bell
station.
and Astral
Yeah.
in 20, like, and I left in 2015 and I still had
Yeah.
them and I still wore them.
Day old.
So yeah, this is like, I'm trying to get out of buying useless shit, but also, speaking of buying useless shit, for Black Friday, I bought clothes. For the first time, I think, in
Gotta do
2-3 years, instead of just buying like stuff I need to replace, I made frivolous purchases.
Atta girl.
Solely for fashion.
Love it.
But I still waited. Like, I've been looking at these items for like a month. And I was like, have a Black Friday sales, you coward. And they did.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to wear some of it to the Christmas party, but they didn't have a pre-Black Friday. Like, it's not one of those stores like that's super like Shein or H&M, you know. So they only had like a sale day of, or like, I think it was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They had like a 30% off the entire store. Mm-hmm. And now like Canada Post is on strike. So I don't know when I'm getting these fucking clothes, but at least I got them for cheap.
Yeah.
Or cheaper. Yeah, again, because I was shopping for stuff that will last me decades, because I hate changing clothes. But I will buy a chair. That will be my job for
Buy a chair.
for Boxing Day sales, which is a very Canadian thing. I will look into chairs, maybe.
Yeah, get a chair. Fantasy Critic. We're almost there. On
Getting there.
the podcast league, there is literally one game left to release in this year of 2024. That is Cats, Indiana Jones, and the Great Circle.
Ugh.
It is set to release on the 9th. Is it still going to release on the 9th? I feel like I've heard like nothing about that game.
Yeah.
I just know people have reviewed it and played it, but I haven't
Okay.
heard. I mean, that's next week.
I know.
It's in a week.
I feel like I've heard zip, zilch, zero. So, interesting. Standings are me in first, Joelle in second, Kat in third. I don't think we had any games come out last week. But we did hear that Rift of the Necrodancer got postponed to next year. So yeah, everything that people had picked now that's left: Rift of the Necrodancer, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Avowed, Fantasy Life, Hollow Knight, Silksong, Prison Architect 2, and Marvel's Wolverine are all next year or to be announced. So that's where we stand on that.
Unless I get a miracle with Indiana Jones, last year's Queen is this year's Jester.
Oh my god, that's funny. I like that.
Not by much.
Community.
Not by much.
Not by much. No, we were pretty tight. I know I had a lot of front-loaded stuff, but then you guys picked up near the end of the year. On the Community League, where do we stand right now? It is Darth Stridius in first, Offshore Meteor in second, Ross is in third, Albay is in fourth, Pat, our gamer, is in fifth, I'm in sixth, Stainsby Kingsby is in seventh, Jessica Starr is in eighth, Zhang Pao is in ninth, and Phoenix is in 10th. All right. So, on this league, in upcoming releases, there are a few still left. So, Marvel's Rivals, which is under Real Game Media. Indiana Jones, which is Ross's Cool Games for Attractive People. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rito Rewind is on Zhang Pao's. The Spirit of Samurai, Pugs and Pixels, and then everything else after that is pushed to 2025, except for two, which are estimated. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor just has estimated 2024. That's on Average Games Done Too Quick. And SOPA, The Tale of Stolen Potato. Zhang Pao has that one that's estimated 2024, but we got 29 days left to 2024, so we shall see. Yeah, I can't believe how well Albay is doing. He's in fourth place, and he literally does not have his games picked.
He just did the original pick and then left.
He noped out.
And then left it on red and is doing okay.
That is pure luck, my guy.
That is pure chaos, is
That's
what it
funny.
is. Pure chaos. So, yeah, I don't think things are going to shake up too much, but we'll wait and see. We'll call it closer to the end of the year. Maybe during our game night, we'll call that done, because I doubt anything else is going to come out past that. This is usually we're going to go into what everybody's playing. Yeah, because I was just going to jump to Walk Down Memory Card Lane, but I don't have a Walk Down Memory Card Lane, because just like we talked about, not many games come out in December.
No.
And the one that I thought I was going to do, I went and read back through, and I was like, no, I did it this time last year. So, there you go. Though you guys, I probably could have reused it.
Probably.
But let's talk what you're playing. Kat?
Dragon Age. I put in a good 10 hours this weekend, not gonna lie.
Nice.
But yeah, I was taught, Simon was over, I was saying, and he was saying, Ari finished it. I'm like, and how much, how? I'm still trudging through it. She finished it in 80 some hours or something. She fucking through it. And I looked, I'm at 90 hours. And I'm working on part 10 of the story. I don't know how many parts, part 10 of how many, I don't know. I just started seeing some of my companions unlocking their Veilguard ability. So I'm thinking I'm probably in the last third quarter-ish of the game. But y'all know, Dragon Age, I sip this like a fine wine. So I'm gonna pass probably 100 hours in this main game. And then I had this stupid idea, this silly idea. I don't know if I'm going to do it or if I'm going to burn out. But finish Dragon Age Veilguard. Possibly finish God of War that I'm about halfway through. Mm-hmm. And then do a Dragon Age replay.
Oh.
Restarting Origins with a mage this time around so that I don't actually suck. And playing Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition and then Veilguard again.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking...
Holy cow.
I'm thinking that Inquisition and Veilguard I could power through because I know exactly what to do and what not and which decision to make. Because, let's be honest, out of 90 hours... There was a good 10 minutes on the screen of saying, hey, you going to save Minrathith or Treviso? And I was just like...
yeah, paralyzed with ethical decision-making.
I was like, I'm a Shadow Dragon. I should save Minrathith, but I kind of want to fuck Lucanus. And
It's a really
anyway,
tough call.
It was a very tough call. So, yeah. So I think... I remember playing Inquisition for the second time, and the only reason it took longer is... By the time I got to my second run through Inquisition, the DLCs were out. So that was extra content that I went through. So I am thinking of starting that.
So that could take you through February.
Yes.
I was going to say, that's quite
you need some good...
marathon.
Yeah, you need a few good snowstorms.
Yes, and I don't know, because I'm also sitting here I want to, I want to look into a better update of the site because I kind of did a quick update and I left it there. I have a to-do, a shopping, almost like a honey-do list for Girls on Games to do. I want to update my portfolio and I want to do this, and now I'm only 2 weeks off and I'm I'm going to have to make choices. But yeah, I'm playing Veilguard and I'm just I need to do this again and see it again. I haven't played the new patches of Baldur's Gate either. But Baldur's Gate, I think it's going to be Inquisition or Skyrim. I revisit once in a while. So, but I'm just I'm wondering if I'm going to get burned out on Dragon Age if I try to do that. Or my plan is do a Dragon Age game, do another game, do a Dragon Age game, do another game, do a Dragon Age game, do another game.
Yeah,
and have a plan for the first half of 2025 would be a Dragon Age replay. And keep in mind that I'm saying this. There is no Dragon Age the Legendary Edition like they did for Mass Effect. I'm installing the Xbox 360 game through retrocompatibility on my Series X and raw dogging those graphics.
Do it.
2000 and
then-
whatever.
Wow. Okay.
Come back and vent about old game old.
Yeah.
I made it through. The only reason I dropped off Origins is because the game got too hard too quick because I rolled a fucking warrior. And it's just back then the game was not like properly balanced. So I was talking to it about it to my friends who played Dragon Age Origins when it first came out, and they were like, "The fuck were you doing? Like, there's no getting through this game playing a warrior." I was like, "Why?" They're just like, "It's just an old game. You got to play a mage if you want to get through it, unless you want to suffer." I'm like, "I am suffering."
Yeah, can confirm. I started Origins as a warrior, and I could not finish it because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I didn't know. I made it all the way pretty much to the last boss fight, though. And then I was like, I can't.
I made it about halfway through, and the only reason I trudged a bit further is I finally found the healer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But she could not save my ass. Even she could not repent for my sins of whatever trash build I was doing.
It was terrible.
So
it was bad. I did mine through EA Play though, so I did because I don't own an Xbox, so I did mine all that way. But
yeah, well, mine would be through EA Play through Game Pass. I have basic EA Play because of Game Pass, and all of those EA Play games are through retro compatibilities.
That's how I did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
on
so
PC.
I'm gonna be I'm doing it on Xbox, but it's essentially the same.
Yeah.
And because they're like old ass games, they're actually pretty good on xCloud. I remember playing a bit of Origins on my phone with a Razer attachment and doing this.
Wow.
So anyway, this is my crazy plan. I don't know if I'll get through it, but first I'm going to finish Veilguard, and then I'll see if I can make it through Origins, because I'm playing Veilguard, and there's like subtleties of the story that sometimes I get because I played Inquisition, others that I forgot. Like, I forgot what the fucking Blight was. I'm like, and I played through half of Origins. I was like, it took me way too long to like remember these subtleties. So I'm like, while it's still kind of fresh in my mind, I want to do all the Dragon Age games. I got one that I only made it halfway through, one I haven't played, and then the two modern ones, which I will have finished. So that's my plan to start during the holidays. Will I make it through my list? Will I finally update my portfolio? Probably not, but I will at least start this Dragon Age project. So help me God.
A for effort. Yeah. Joelle, you're playing Dragon Age 2, right?
I am. I had a few more days off, so I basically doubled my playtime in like 3.5 days. So I'm in 50 hours in, and I'm trying to do as much as I can in this one playthrough, because I kind of want to see like all of the game as much as I can in this one playthrough. So I'm doing all the side quests. I am trying to do everything that I can, talk to everyone, romance everyone. I'm being denied left and right. It just might be my personality. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm having a really great time. This is so fun. I will say it was a bit of a slow burn, because in the beginning it kind of throws you into all this action, and then you kind of then have to like orient yourself to where you're at, like in the world and in relation to the characters, and that like took a hot minute. But then kind of after I got like my path forward and the goal and what the party was doing, then I just like went all in, and I'm having a really good time. So I do not want to do the plan that Kat has. I will.
No,
but you've played these games in the past, though.
I haven't played. Yeah, I haven't played the second one, but I did play Origins, and I did play Inquisition. I actually played Inquisition 3 times.
Oh shit, that's more than me. Damn.
Reasons. Well, the first one did not go well, so I got almost all the way through, but I couldn't just figure out the builds. It was just a mess. So I ended up playing it 2 more times, which is probably why my playthrough of the Veilguard is going so well, because I like understand the game and the system that BioWare lays out before us with with Dragon Age, but I'm having a great time. It's really fun. I think after this, a part of me wants to try Metaphor Refantasio, because
Me too.
I've heard such good things. I have a friend who's playing it, and he loves it. And he was like, if you loved Persona 5, and I'm like, I did not finish Persona 5. I got through the first palace, and I was like, I don't know, I dropped off. So I might try that one. Or I've also never played a Final Fantasy game.
Ooh.
So I thought about over break maybe trying to dip into a Final Fantasy.
Okay,
And
okay.
Which one though? Like a classic or like that 7
Yeah.
remake?
Probably the 7th remake, I think.
Okay.
I don't know though yet. I haven't fully decided.
Okay.
If you want something that's not like a fucking chore, because like as much as I loved Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, they all had something that was grindy as fuck.
Isn't that
Like
all
shout out to drawing materia. I'd never want to do that ever fucking again.
Oh my gosh.
I just hated going around in Final Fantasy 10 in places too, where you're like wandering around and then it's like, oh, you hit a bad guy, and you're like, but there's nothing.
Yeah, the random
Yeah.
encounter system where you don't see on the map. It's just like you're walking.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
just an
walking and
NRG
walking.
that decides if you're fighting or not.
JRPGs.
Yeah,
so-
I would. That's why I would.
Maybe 7 is the way to go.
Yeah,
Or
gently
what's
push you-
What is the boy band drive a game?
15.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
15? I'm sorry. 15 sucks.
Really?
Um,
I heard everybody liked that one. Isn't
It's
that
a
the one with, like,
great
cup of noodles?
game for half
Yeah.
of it. And I remember
and then
talking
it
about it on the
flips.
podcast. It's like the part where you're just driving in the car is great. It's very Final Fantasy, and there's no random encounters. You see the encounters on the map. It's great. But then you get to a point in the game where you get railroaded for the last 15 hours of the game.
Oh, 15 hours. Oh my god.
Yes. So you at one point you hit a point of no return, but you're maybe 2/3 of the game in or half the game in. It's so fucking weird. And then the end, I had to Google like what the fuck does this ending mean? It was like the end of Neon Genesis Evangelion before they decided to make the movies.
Oh, really?
Oh.
It was so cryptic, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? So, gameplay-wise, yes. Story-wise, God, no. What happened is like, and the story of this game that was in dev hell for so many years, I think that's what happened, is just like, they made 2 different games and connected that at the middle and called it a ship.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm happy I played it through Game Pass, and I saw it through because at one point I was invested. But once I got to the part where I was like railroaded, and I was talking with my friend Guillaume, who bought and played it on PlayStation back in the day, and he was like, "So where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm in the prison." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Am I getting out and going back to drive my car ever again?" He's like, "No,
Sad.
no."
It's
So
like Mexico and Red Dead Redemption. You go down there and it goes on forever.
yeah, well, this part is just like it goes on forever. You're railroaded in. You
And
just
it's
want to
not
go.
fun.
It's not fun, and then boom, the game ends, and you're like, "I'm sorry, what?" It was a bit whiplashy. So I would recommend either
You're not selling that one.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Maybe it is go. Maybe it is go to the remake of 7.
Yeah,
It's just not very like it's not classic Final Fantasy in the sense of turn-based whatever.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just different.
I don't know. That's okay with me. I don't know.
That's okay.
That's
I
fine.
don't know. I adore the turn-based. That's what I like about
Yeah.
Persona. But if you're saying you didn't like Persona, that might be the why you didn't like Persona.
yeah, because
I don't. Turn-based is fine. I enjoyed it in Sea of Stars.
okay.
But typically it's usually not my bag because I have to wait and think too much, and I get impatient and frustrated. I just want to smash things. So
Yeah, so I think 7 Rebirth is, well, the 7 remake in general is great. It's just it's not fully out. So it's short. The story might get, you feel like you might not get the full story because you won't. Because basically the 3 CDs are going to be 3 separate games. But playing like the reissues of like I think 8 and 9, they fixed a few things to make it slightly less grindy. But like I remember these games fondly. They were my favorite games growing up. Like my top 3 Final Fantasy games are from first to third are Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8. But I can guarantee you this is very rose-colored glasses.
Oh, yeah.
That
Like,
probably if I tried to play these games today, I'd be like, what kind of bullshit fuckery is this?
Well, what about 16?
I haven't played it because it's a PlayStation exclusive.
Oh, well then, okay.
But it's probably better.
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Look at the reviews. If not, like, if you have, like, a chance to try 15 because it's on PS Plus, like, I won't stop you from trying it. And then once the game gets boring, maybe you can Google the ending.
I don't know.
No, Kat's gonna come out of your screen and be like, "No,
I know.
don't do this."
I fully support you sharing my experience, and then we can commiserate on how did this game go from good to terrible.
I feel like I'd rather, for the first entry though, I'd rather play something that I would like, and then I can be like, oh, this is not good. I think it's either going to be 7 or 16, I think.
If you're looking to the modern Final Fantasies, I think those 2 are your best bet. If you want to go into the retro, I haven't played anything. Like Final Fantasy 7 was my first one. I haven't played the old one like this. Apparently the 6 has a great story, but they've issued all of those as pixel remakes.
Yep.
So a lot of people, but you can buy them on like for your phone. Like you could play Final Fantasy 1 on your phone if you want.
Yep.
I think,
or on your iPad.
I just wanted to. I kind of liked how I did Dragon Age, where I did Inquisition. I loved Inquisition, and then I'm like, all right, now I'm excited to play the other ones, and then my tolerance for like old or just tougher gameplay was a little bit better because I'm just like, well, I know I like this franchise, so I want to kind of learn the lore. So I feel like that's a good strategy for getting into something else. I might just pick Metaphor and that be my JRPG too.
Yeah.
And like save. But I've never played a Final Fantasy, and I've never played a Pokemon. So that just
because
what?
I know I've never played a Pokemon game.
Okay, before we unpack this, I just want to say Final Fantasy is not like Dragon Age, where it's a world that continues. No, I just want to get my point, and then we're unpacking the Pokemon thing.
Yeah,
but like Final Fantasy games are standalones. There's nothing connecting.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
Okay, now we can talk about how you never fucking played a Pokemon. What the fuck?
I've never played a Pokemon.
We had a topic for today, but fuck the topic. You've never played Pokemon?
No, I've never played a Pokemon game.
Why?
I don't. That's not like on purpose. It's not like I don't like Pokemon. I don't know. I think I just, when I was younger, the concept I wasn't that into it, I guess. Of like, this isn't like that. I liked Mario. I'm like, that's kind of what I wanted to do. And then for a period, I didn't play too many games because I was so busy doing extracurricular activities. And I feel like I just kind of missed the train on the whole thing, right? Where it's like, oh, now everyone is in this culture of Pokemon. And I'm like, it's almost so overwhelming of like, I don't know what to do. And now it's like too big. And I don't want to take the time to learn it. And then also it seems like some of the Pokemon, I mean, I think this is true with any IP, but it seems like some of the Pokemon releases are a bit like hit and miss. And so I don't know, but I have
at the risk of getting all the nerds on my back, Gen 1 had a lot of hit and miss.
So
there's a garbage bag in Gen 1.
So, here's my thoughts, Joelle.
Yeah.
If you want to venture down the rabbit hole of the amazingness that is the Pokemon franchise.
I'm afraid.
Starting today, here now today, in order to get in at the beginning and understand why we are as crazy as we are when we're Pokemon fans, I think you should try Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. Because it's essentially the first game redone with the first 151 Pokemon. You get the concepts of, you know, how you build your team, thinking about different types, thinking about battle strategy, that kind of stuff. And it doesn't convolute it with some of the stuff that they started putting in the further generations, like these fucking mega evolutions and all this bullshit, which are wicked fun, but, like, if you don't know anything, can really confuse you. Yeah. So, like, it's on Switch, and it's cute as heck.
Yeah.
You know, and you can pick Eevee or you can pick Pikachu, whichever one you want to kind of be your companion, and they kind of go with you the entire time.
I feel like that'd be hard. It's hard. Although maybe I would just do Pikachu for nostalgia purposes, and then
I mean, if you want to, go down that route to be like almost like purists, but first gen Pikachu wasn't.
He was terrible.
I know
he was not one of the 3 starters, right? So like, I feel like you'd get a bonus by going down that route. But yeah, if you wanted to give it a try, that's the one I would go with, because that would set you up on a really good foot. And that played really well when it came out.
I just want to correct myself before the nerds get even angrier. The trash bag was not Gen 1, but the pile of muck, the sentient sludge, that was Gen 1. Still trash. Trash idea, trash Pokemon.
Mike and I got a new robot vac. It was a promo thing, but we always name our robot vac something weird. And we were trying really hard to find a Pokemon name for it, but nothing really fit. So now it's Mr. Sweeps. So
my friend called hers Vlad the Inhaler.
We had Jeeves, and we had Jasper, and now it's Mr. Sweeps. So
that's cute.
What was the name of the butler in Addams Family? Like, you rang.
Lurch.
I should call mine Lurch.
Nice.
Because it does, sometimes it wanders like a fucking zombie, because it kind of like, it's having like navigation issues. It's just running around like in and out of a room. And I'm like, yeah, fucking Lurch.
Oh my God. To live a life where I've never encountered the Pokemon franchise, and to get to try and play it again and fall in love with it all over again.
Honestly,
my Christmas gift to you.
Honestly, they're very charming games.
I believe it. I just feel like, I didn't get hooked. The boat left the dock, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll wave from shore, and then goodbye.
Here we are, like 25 years later, like 1,000 Pokemon or whatever, how many there are.
I know.
Because like, I haven't played any of the Switch game, I'll be honest with you. I stopped at the 3DS. I started with the Game Boy. The Game Boy. Bought the cartridge for green or blue when it first came out. And then I haven't looked at it through console just because of all the performance issues I was seeing. But I've been told, like, I missed out on some very good Pokemon games. And at one point I should kind of like visit it. But I kind of like burnt out on the franchise myself, but to not have played it at all, like...
No, I'm a Pokemon virgin.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I agree with Leah. Go with one of the Let's Go's.
Yeah. Just where it's a remake. I think what we're waiting for, too, and, like, Scarlet and Violet could have been it. It was just on a console that couldn't handle it. I have a feeling that and what we've seen in, like, Arceus and stuff, I have a feeling they're getting really close to putting out, like, the ultimate Pokemon game, just like they did with Smash Bros. Ultimate, where it's like, where do you go from here?
Yeah, where do you go from here?
Do you know what I mean? Not that we're big Smash players here, but like I feel like that's what the vibe of the community is. And yeah, they need that Switch 2. And when that game comes out, it's going to be all encompassing because there are just so many Pokemon, so many. And that's part of it, is that people want to collect and have these decks and their dexes and all this stuff. And it's just, you have to play it through so many different games. And when the functionalities and like the stuff I was talking, like Megalutions and all that kind of stuff, like that can kind of compound and push people out super easily. So I feel like they need something that's kind of like level setting for all, where it's approachable for new players, but then also super intriguing for those of us who've been with it since, oh my god, how long now? I know it came out on my birthday, but it was like, what, 30 years ago?
Wasn't it 25 years? I was like...
that this had, yeah.
I was, what, 30? Oh god, it's more than that.
Yeah.
I was 12 or 13 when I played the first one, and I got it like the year it came out. I remember some.
Oh no, that was the animated series. Hold on, this is talking about the movie. Pardon me. Video game series. 96, February 27th, 1996. That's when Red and Green came out. So yeah, I mean, if you wanted a fun project, that would be one for Joelle. For you, Joelle.
I guess.
So
I guess
to learn how to play, or to do the whole, turn-based strategy style.
So many waters uncharted for me to explore. So
It's funny though. I bet you we've all got a game series like that.
Yeah.
That like is like a pinnacle one that everybody talks about that you haven't touched. I mean, Kat, you went down the Mass Effect train when that edition came out. I've never played a Dragon Age. I've been thinking about trying Inquisition, but then also Metaphor is there. I'm in the middle of Stardew Valley, but then I also saw that Sunhaven just popped off on Switch the other day, finally, on that console. It's been on PC forever. And that's a very, like, farming, simmy-esque game, but there's some other stuff, because I've been watching some reviews and stuff on it. Because when I started watching that, it was in, I think, like, an early access or something, so it's been a while. And it has a lot of the similar vibes, but apparently there's, like, settings in it where you can, like, change how fast the day goes. And also, too, if you don't want to do combat, you can turn yourself invisible. Or, not invisible, invincible. Which I think is kind of cool for that kind of a game if you feel like saying, I just don't want to fuck with dying. Yeah, that's available to you. Oh my, ladies, we did have a topic, but it was an interesting topic that we thought was going to be really interesting until I looked into it deeper, and then it turned us for a left-hand turn. And then we kind of pulled something together. Do you want to talk about that a bit, or we've been going for an hour?
I say, well, why not?
Okay.
What's an extra 15 minutes to undo some video game myths?
Yeah, let's do that after this break. All right, we're back from our wee little break, and behind the scenes actions here. Sometimes I get rando emails that are sent to my leah@girlsongames.ca email address. And sometimes it's being fed really good, awesome topics and things and video game and press releases and whatever else. But sometimes they pull the wool over my eyes and I don't realize that it's coming out of left field. But we're going to turn this into a topic anyway because it's something that we constantly talk about. Do video games relieve stress? Some do, some don't. There have been studies, left, right, and center. This one that I got, though, through my email was a supportive study, and I say that with heavy air quotes, as it was around relaxing video games, and then bait and switch that the people who did it ended up being a tobacco company, which I thought was really weird. And I looked at the study, what do you call it? The methodologies of their study, and it was essentially just like taking review scores and putting them together based on recommendations from people found on the web. We all know that Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and games like that are relaxing. Truly. But, like, is there the science out there to prove that they are?
And I found a study that says violent video games decrease stress hormones.
Oh, go on now.
So, yeah, about how, like, playing video games make you violent. Apparently, no. And this is an actual study. So
What? It didn't come from a tobacco company?
No. Who just went on steam.db to pull some fucking numbers. So this is what I'll post is the vulgarizing article on psypost.org, but they took it from the findings that have been published in the scientific journal Physiology and Behavior. So one of the researcher, Gary L. Wagner, said he was interested in this topic as I am myself a gamer. Since I was little, I was fascinated by video games in the virtual world. I played because it was fun, because I enjoyed the competition, to enjoy good stories, but also to relieve some stress of my daily life. When I started my studies in psychology, I was interested in research and especially in video game effects. I started to notice that there were large inconsistencies in the research on violent video game effects, with some researchers claiming that playing violent video games increases aggressive behavior, while other researchers show that it was not the case. I did not enjoy the media depiction of violent video games that did not reflect this still ongoing debate, and therefore I decided to investigate violent video games effect myself. So this study included 54 male participants. I think the male is important because they always say, like, is violent video games bad for our young boys? Mm-hmm. So he was like, bet, you want to gender this? Let's go on in. These individuals were recruited through various channels, include university mailing lists, social media, posters. Each participant was randomly assigned to play either a violent or non-violent passage from the popular video game Uncharted 4: A Thief's End for 25 minutes. So to measure the effects of gaming, the researcher employed several techniques. They assessed participants' level of cortisol, the stress hormone, testosterone, both before and after gameplay, using saliva samples. And to gauge personality traits, participant completed questionnaire assessing the dark tetrad, which is Machiavellianism, psychopathy, narcissism, and everyday sadism. And then they did an implicit association test to measure aggressive tendencies. So, and the results were apparently, according to this person writing this article, quite unexpected. Because contrary to what previous studies had suggested, they found no significant change in testosterone levels in either group. More strikingly, cortisol levels actually decreased in the group playing the violent section of the game. So that suggests that rather than increasing stress, it might have had a relaxing effect on players. So in the implicit association test, they evaluated aggressive cognition, essentially how likely participants were to associate themselves with aggressive thoughts or behaviors. The results showed no significant difference between the groups that played the violent game and the group that played the non-violent game. This indicates that short-term exposure to video game violence might not influence a person's aggressive thoughts or tendencies as much as earlier researchers suggested. Turns out it's other shit that makes you violent.
Hell yeah.
And then the personality trait of Machiavellianism, characterized by manipulation and a focus on self-interest, was found to moderate this effect. So, participants with higher levels of Machiavellianism who played the violent game showed more pronounced decrease in cortisol. This finding indicates that the response to violent games may vary based on individual personality traits. In contrast, the other traits in the dark tetrad, such as sadism, psychopathy, and narcissism, did not show any significant moderating effects. So if you're a narcissist playing video games, that makes no difference for you. So, little quote by Wagner again: the average person should take away from this study that there is no clear picture that violent video games are harmful for player. They do not necessarily increase aggression in any way, but can even have positive and relaxing effects for player. Limitations as the study, as all studies do. Wagner said that we can only generalize the effects in this study for the video game we chose. However, in our media and experimental lab at the University of Luxembourg, which is where they did this, we continued this research and tried to use different materials in all of our experiments to be finally able to generalize these findings more broadly in the medium. Another constraint was the focus solely on male participants. The study was limited to men to reduce variability and control factors like menstrual cycles and oral contraceptive, which could influence hormonal levels. But this leaves open questions about how women might respond to violent video games. I don't think it's going to be quite different, to be honest. So looking to the future, the researchers suggest that more comprehensive studies, including female participants and larger sample size, are needed. Such studies would provide a more detailed understanding of the complex relationship between video game content, physiological and cognitive responses in different personality type. Last quote from Wagner: "This study was only a stepping stone for more research on violent video game effects that are part of my PhD studies at the University of Luxembourg." Get that education, my guy. So he says that hopefully he'll have more findings in the future. And then this article includes the link to the entire paper called Games, Hormone, and Dark Personalities, Dark Tetrad and the Effect of Violent Gaming on Aggression, Cortisol, and Testosterone, authored by Gary Wagner, Andre Schultz, and Andre Melzer.
Interesting game that they chose. I kind of anticipated they were going to say like Call of Duty or something like that, but Uncharted.
I think it's because they wanted like the same to play part people to be able to play like a non-violent part of the same game.
Yeah, and to play through the same pattern. Violent part of the game. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of like the thing is with online games is you always have the uncontrollable criteria of it being like, who are your opponents, who are your teammates, and usually you can't you have issues accounting for like human behavior. That always puts an unknown, something that is hard to measure or that is hard to calibrate or that is hard to what's the word I'm looking for? Account for,
But they could have played the story mode
for Call of Duty. Yeah.
But
I think like
it's not Uncharted is not the game that people usually say this is a violent video game. Though he does mow down tons of people.
That was what I was going to say. Isn't most of your of your enemies human beings?
Yes, they are.
Exactly.
But it's just not the stereotypical, which I think is interesting. And, choosing the right video game for doing a study is part of it, right? Because I bet you he had to sit down and figure out which one to play.
Yeah.
And probably easier than trying to make a game. I know, Joelle, that's a story and a study that you managed to find when we were digging into this concept of, do video games relieve stress? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I found one through the National Library of Medicine, a study that was published in August of 2021, so fairly recent. And this was published by some folks from the Department of Human Sciences for Education in Milano, Italy. It was 3 researchers. And part of their background and the abstract of the article was talking about using commercial or off-the-shelf video games rather than custom-made computer games to have several advantages for reducing stress and anxiety. So I think the study was a bit twofold of saying do commercial video games lower stress and anxiety on the whole for a different population of people, and then is that better to use in studies rather than creating your own type of video games, right? Because people that are interested in studying behaviors or in the social sciences can code basic games that people can play because they want it to be very controlled and consistent. So maybe they'll create their own game for people to play. And so a part of the results, which I found was really interesting, is that they gathered a bunch of different studies. It was 28 different studies met the criteria to be compiled and analyzed for this paper. And a lot of it had to do with the sudden jump of people playing video games due to the pandemic, clearly. So they were saying, like, okay, everyone's inside, they're playing games. Is this really going to help anyone with their anxiety? And I thought what was interesting is that this paper included a lot of different genres of video games. So they did some research and found data for action games, adventure games, action-adventure games, casual games, racing games, sports games, role-playing, strategy, simulation, exer games, which is like exercise games, is how they say it, augmented reality. And the games that they listed are very, I would say, modern. Doom, Call of Duty, The Walking Dead, Until Dawn, Tomb Raider, Grand Theft Auto, Bejeweled, Plants vs. Zombies, Gran Turismo, Diablo, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Dota 2, The Sims, Just Dance, Pokemon Go. I mean, they did quite a bit of genres of games. They took quite a bit of games to kind of pull in and to research. And what was really interesting is that they essentially, so it was 28 different studies, but that included a section of the population that was about like 3,000 people or so. And these people were coming from all sort of walks of life, with the majority of them being between the ages of 20 and 50. So it's a kind of a big age range, but the majority of people kind of sat in that middle ground. And what was interesting is they also, in the study, they conclude about all their different prescribed, like, mental health as well. So, like, some of them, people suffered from stress or anxiety or bipolarism, and maybe they have Parkinson's or depression, some of their physical attributes as well. So I think that was really interesting that they kind of took a holistic approach to categorize people, not just by like age or gender, but also their how they would like self-diagnose themselves with their mental state. And what some of the findings that were interesting that came out of this is that out of the 28, 14 of those studies were focused on the results of what does it look like for games for reducing stress. And then 8 of those studies said that these commercialized published games were superior for reducing stress when compared with basic stress management training, such as guided relaxation or sitting quietly, a traditional exercise program at a moderate intensity, surfing the web, or a standard distraction procedure. So I just think it was interesting that playing a video game reduced stress more than meditation, which I don't know if I would run across anyone that doesn't play video games that would tell you that that would be true, that for sure meditation would be better than playing a video game. They also said that psychological stress was significantly reduced around people that played Pokemon Go. So I guess I should start playing Pokemon if I find myself really stressed. However, they did talk about that there was a relationship emerged between stress levels and anxiety between people that played MMOs, such as World of Warcraft, that increasingly had highly stressed individuals reporting that playing games of this genre magnified rather than relieved their suffering. So I don't know. That's
some very evidence, World of Warcraft.
there's some evidence to report that MMOs may not be great for reducing stress. Maybe you should go play Pokemon.
That is the most WoW thing I've heard about WoW. I'm gonna be honest.
That is funny. I think it was better than like the horror games that they had too. Like it was just basically. So yeah, it's saying like overall substantially that unless like you already have kind of tough physical conditions, which makes it harder for you like to exercise at a vigorous level, playing video games aside from MMOs, for almost every age is going to significantly reduce your stress. They also had another paragraph in here, which I found was really interesting. With respect to younger age groups, 2 studies recruited children under the ages of 12 years old that played games mainly through like the Nintendo Wii. And these games diminished anxiety and alleviated pain in every child during painful or invasive medical procedures, such as like dressing changes or dental treatment. So I want to go to the dentist that has a Wii console in their chair, because that apparently also like is so distracting. You totally forget that you're at the dentist. So
let me rip through an entire Mario Kart cup.
That's right.
While you clean my gums.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the dentist because I kind of move as I go. So, like...
Yeah. So this was some really interesting little facts in the article that I found. But overall, it was kind of an overwhelming sense that playing video games in any shape for most people, regardless of your age, reduces stress. And also that, we should keep doing it. And it's also better than creating your own game if you're a researcher, which I'm sure everyone listening to this podcast is a scientific researcher that creates their own games for their own studies. But just use what's already out there, because it's great, because people worked hard on it, and it's amazing. So just reuse what you got.
And it's what people are going to go out and play.
That's right.
Yes. Well, thank you, ladies. You ended up turning what I thought was going to be a solid topic and then got side rails into something that actually turned out to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot about ourselves today. I
We
think
did.
it was like that TikTok trend, we listen, we do not judge, when Joelle said she never played Pokemon, for example, or when I said I'm going to do all this during my Christmas vacation, like I'm not just going to become a disgusting human being that doesn't do shit fuck all. So turn this episode around to something smart.
That's what we did. That's what we're here to do. That's what we do best. And with that, it closes out this episode of the Girls on Games podcast. As always, check out the show notes on girlsongames.ca for links to the stories mentioned in this episode, including those 2 studies that are stories. Thank you, Kat, for doing that for us every week. Also, go watch the video on Darude Sandstorm. That's why you're really here.
That's the true scientific academic content we need and
That's
want.
the answer to everything.
Dun, 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 dun.
If you have the power to rate and review this podcast on the podcasting platform where you're consuming it, that'd be much appreciated. Why? It helps with discovery, pushes us up in the rankings, and for any comments, those are helpful because they help us build our show. So much appreciated. This is the moment in the show where they ask the crew to shout out their social media handles so you can follow them anywhere and anywhere online. Catherine.
I am CSDSBINS on Blue Sky, X, Instagram, Threads, but you can find me in the Girls on Games Discord. But speaking of social media, if y'all are getting your Spotify wraps, your YouTube recaps and whatever, and Girls on Games is in your podcast section, definitely let us know. Post in the Discord. If you feel comfortable, tag the Girls on Games account, like on Threads or Blue Sky or X, and I'll retweet y'all. Yay. I'll repost or whatever it's called. So feel free to do so. If you want to shout us out, we would appreciate it, and I will show you the same love by seeing the notification and hitting the repost icon.
Thank you, Catherine.
That's a promise. That's a guarantee there, sir.
There's a guarantee. Joelle, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at JoelleLauren87 and on Blue Sky at Joelle.Lauren. And that's all I'm saying for social media handles is just those 2. Because that's all I'm going to be doing.
I'm Leah Jew on most social media platforms, but of course you want to know everything there is to know about Girls on Games. You can track us down at The Girls on Games on X and Facebook. Girls on Games, know that in there. On Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok. But really, go to Discord. Discord.me/girlsongames to continue this conversation and more. But if you really need to know anything at all, you can track it down at our home base. That's our website, girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Joelle. It's been another lovely week in video games, and I'm about to go de-stress by doing the non-stressful thing, which is doing the Skull Cavern in Stardew Valley. Because, yeah, a never-ending dungeon full of monsters is exactly what you need to de-stress, right?
It's very meditative.
It's scientific.
Like,
It
they
is.
talk about meditation
Skull
and getting in the
Cavern,
zone,
Yeah.
and sometimes
Yeah.
you just got to mow down monsters.
It's better for you than meditation.
It's the prep work, and then you go and you're like, I am ready, and then you go and mow down the monsters and pray to God that you don't die and lose half your gems, because I don't want to lose a prismatic shard. But anyways, that's a me problem. You guys have a good week. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.